are going to be expecting a major crypto rebound. Now, I'm going to talk about this rebound here that could be a potential, right? If certain things happen. I've talked about Bitcoin, which is still the driver of this crypto market, and why you should definitely be paying attention to Bitcoin first over anything else. It's because it is the driver of this market, and if it pumps, it has more room to pump. That's going to be very good for the altcoins here. However, if Bitcoin continues dumping from here, which there is still a risk of, okay, because it just broke down from a huge bearish pattern that I've been talking about for quite some time. That is going to be very bad for quite a bit of these altcoins here. So very important to be paying attention to what Bitcoin does in today and in the near future, okay? So this is the weekly time frame for Bitcoin, and it just broke down from this rising wedge pattern. You guys should definitely pay attention to rising wedge patterns because it works in the opposite direction of a falling wedge. Now, the breakdown here happened. It was a confirmed breakdown from last week's candle close, okay? Despite the bears actually failed breaking down from here about twice already in 2 weeks. But last week, the bears actually succeeded and they got the weekly candle close below that bearish pattern. Now, the price target, the breakdown target for this breakdown is about 80,000 almost. That is going to be catastrophic if it plays out for the altcoins. Okay. I am still long on Bitcoin. I am not long on Bitcoin right now. I am looking to get a long position on Bitcoin, but I am long on quite a bit of the altcoins still. So my opinion on this market is still bullish, but these are just my opinions and not financial advice. Like the entirety of this video, you guys gotta form your own strategies and opinions. Now, we're going to take a look into a few altcoin setups as well later in this video, which will include AVNT, ANKR, and I always forget the third one, okay? And Sushiswap token, and see what's happening in these markets, especially after that crash we had on Friday, last Friday, 2 Fridays ago now, 2 Fridays ago. Okay, so see what's happening with these markets. Later in this video, we're going to be taking a look into some major crypto and economics news first before getting into the charts. So let's go ahead and dive into some news. This is by ZY Crypto. Strategy spends another $19 million on Bitcoin, pushing holdings to 640 above 640,000 Bitcoin. So it's good to hear that other bulls are still doing the same thing, right? They're still bullish on the markets. I am still bullish on the markets for a couple of reasons I think that are still intact. One of which, of course, is the Fed rate cut cycle that has just started in September, and it's looking very likely. I mean, the probabilities hasn't really changed for October here. We're still looking at about a 99% chance of a Fed rate cut, okay, as of today. Now, these probabilities do change, but, I mean, it's looking very likely now, okay? 100% for December. How about January? January is looking 100% as well. March, 100%, okay? Keep an eye on these probabilities because they do change as new economic data comes out and new events happen, but that is basically what is looking like right now. My other argument is that retail interest is still coming in for crypto. And how I research that is I look at the search term for Bitcoin. This is for the United States, and these are weekly data points, okay, that has been highly correlated with previous bull cycles and bull waves. And we're getting a little bit of a slump this week, but for the past couple of weeks, retail interest has been increasing. I'm going to be keeping an eye out on this data as well, but I mean, it looks like my argument for this is still intact, okay? In addition to a few technical analysis arguments as well, okay? So let's go ahead and dive into the next piece of news here. which is by You Today. It is by It says XRP versus Bitcoin. Short-term golden cross completed, $3 price in play. Now, this is another reason why I'm still bullish on the. I still think this bull cycle is still on, is because uh, altcoins haven't really pumped yet. Okay, it's still trying to get through its previous all-time highs set back in November of 2021. Okay, so this is why I still do not think the bull cycle is over yet. You guys, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. But I know it's been very boring, right? It has been over a year and a half since March of last year, since we have actually gotten some really good price action. I mean, we've had some highlights here and there back in November of last year, but it didn't really, I mean, it didn't last for very long. Okay, so I mean, this is also another reason why. I mean, we've been consolidating above 110K for quite some time. So this is why I still don't think this is over yet. Next piece is by TradingView. Bitcoin USD. Bitcoin jumped 3% to top 111,000 with markets drooling over that Fed rate cut. Yeah, so the Fed meeting is coming in about 9 days. It's looking very likely, almost 100%, that we're going to get a rate cut. So that's going to drive cheaper money into the markets, like we have seen back in 2020, 2021, and in the 2010s. Okay, so I think risk on assets like stocks, crypto are going to get a lot more tailwind as this Fed rate cut cycle goes on. Key points here. Bitcoin price rise Monday. Traders excited about rate cuts. Ethereum climbs over 4,000 again. Okay. So next is by Cointelegraph. Grok, DeepSeek outperform ChatGPT. Gemini with epic crypto market long. Let's see here. Let's read a little bit into this. Grok and DeepSeek outperformed other major artificial intelligence chatbots in cryptocurrency trading, timing the market's local bottoms before a recovery rally, hinting at a possible edge for users who rely on their insights. Are you guys using any chatbots for trading? I personally don't, because I still rely on. I am just a lot more convinced by my own opinions, right? I've been trading for 5+ years, so I like doing my own chart analysis. But have you guys used AI chatbots? Right? Let me know. I have used AI chatbots for other things, like editing photos. I think ChatGPT is superior to Grok. I haven't used DeepSeek. I haven't used Gemini for editing photos, but ChatGPT is definitely superior to Grok in photo editing in that aspect. So yeah, that's ChatGPT is still my favorite. Just overall, which one is your favorite? Let me know. Next piece is by Crypto News. Why is crypto up today, October 20th, 2025? Okay, so let's do a TLDR here. Global market cap is up 3% to 3.85 trillion. 7 of the top 10 coins are in the green. Bitcoin rose 0.4%. Okay, I mean, it doesn't really give me a reason here. So I'm gonna just I'll let you guys read through this, okay? If you guys want to, it is in TradingView. I do have an affiliate link in the description section below. If you sign up using my link, that does support me. Let's come back to the charts here, which is the most important part. And what I'm seeing here is, let's come down to the daily time frame. Daily time frame, we're holding above that daily 200 SMA right now. Okay, daily 200 SMA for all types of significance is at about 108,000, the orange line. Now, I also talked about Bitcoin breaking out of this falling wedge pattern on the shorter time frame here, and the price target for this falling wedge pattern, if it plays out completely, could be 122.5K. Okay, now price targets are estimates only. Okay, but that would be a huge rebound if this price target actually plays out, right? Basically retracing that daily candle, that dump candle, right? Back in 2 Fridays ago. That will look very good for Bitcoin. However, I want to add that even if this price target plays out, it is not uncommon to see a breakdown, a rising wedge breakdown, and the price action coming back to retest the bottom line of a rising wedge. Okay, which means there could still be more downside, even if Bitcoin comes back to about this bottom trend line here, which is about 120,000, right? So this is what some scenarios are. Could this price target play out? That would be very good for the altcoins in the short term. However, really looking for an invalidation of this rising wedge breakdown. So you want to see, what I do want to see is potentially a weekly candle close back inside this rising wedge pattern, right? Or if this weekly candle close actually closes, basically closes at about 126,000 or above, right? Because the rising wedge is kind of tricky because you have a ascending bottom trend line, so it could retest that for a little while, right? And I'll update you guys when new data comes out, and I'll give you guys my opinion. So let's go ahead and go to altcoins. Altcoins. We're going to take a look into ANKR first, okay? What is happening with ANKR Network here? Now, I did do an update since the crash 2 Fridays ago, and what I saw was so ANKR, what's very bullish about ANKR still is that I've talked about this falling wedge pattern, this huge falling wedge pattern on the weekly time frame, and it is still intact after that crash. And why is it still intact? Why do I say that it's still intact? It's because the weekly candle, it wicks below the pattern, and then it's still closed above the pattern here. So that tells me traders are seeing this pattern, okay? And buyers basically bought it up and basically ends up back into the pattern here. So this falling wedge pattern that we've been talking about forever is still intact. Now, if this thing plays out still, and let's just say if ANKR breaks out by this point, for example, price target will still be above 10 cents for ANKR, okay? Now, I also talked about a smaller falling wedge pattern from within the bigger one, right? That did get invalidated. Wait, hang on. No, yeah, that did get invalidated. It's very close, but that did get invalidated because that is technically a weekly candle close below the bottom trend line, and I want to be consistent here, okay? So let's go ahead and invalidate that falling wedge pattern from within the bigger one, and see what we could be dealing with here, okay? Now, ANKR is very close to that bottom trend line still of that bigger falling wedge pattern. So very important that you don't see a weekly candle close below that bigger falling wedge pattern. Otherwise, that will get invalidated. Now, 4-hour time frame for ANKR. This looks like a potential cup and handle that is forming. I'm just guessing it is not formed because we're still seeing rounded bottoms since this low here, and rounded bottoms usually turn into cup and handles. And cup and handles are bullish patterns that usually break to the upside. Always mind the downside risk of these patterns because we're all just talking about probabilities here, right? Even though these patterns have a higher chance of moving in one direction, always mind the smaller chance of moving to the other direction because that could very well happen. Alright, so this is basically what I'm seeing for ANKR. Let's go ahead and go to Sushi. I just want to add, rounded bottoms, if they stop forming rounded bottoms, then, the cup and handle scenario could be out the window. So very important to be paying attention to what's happening in these patterns that are forming or even after they're formed. Let's go ahead and go to Sushi here. Monthly time frame. Talked about a falling wedge pattern for sushi. Now, excuse me, a double bottom pattern here for sushi with bullish divergence on this monthly time frame. Huge time frame that is still intact. And the neckline of this double bottom, which is a bullish pattern that has a higher chance of breaking to the upside, would be about, I'm just going to say $2.90 here, just to be even. And that's the neckline of the double bottom, and the price target is still valid. It's going to be above $5.15 price targets. Price targets are estimates only, a lot of which does depend on what happens with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin starts dumping, especially extensively, these altcoin setups, they're not going to matter very much, okay? Let's go ahead and take a look into a smaller time frame for sushi. Sushi, since the crash, right, has also invalidated this falling wedge pattern, as you guys see that there are weekly candle closes below that pattern here, and candle closes at the highest time frame that a pattern is validated in, invalidates that pattern. So this pattern is invalidated. Let's go ahead and take these trend lines away. All right, and let's take a look into a smaller time frame here and see what we could be dealing with here for sushi, because I don't see another pattern here on this weekly time frame. So 4-hour time frame, rounded bottom still, okay, and rounded bottoms, like I said, could turn into cup and handles. Not formed yet, but could be. Very important to keep an eye on this and see if it does or not. Let's go ahead and go to Avantis and see what's going on with Avantis AVNT USD. Weekly time frame. Now this is a relatively new coin. Let's go ahead and go to a smaller time frame. Not that much data. Daily time frame. Avantis. I talked about a rising wedge pattern last time, which it broke down, so I invalidated that. Now this is a new pattern, daily time frame, falling wedge pattern, price target, since it broke out here on the day of October 13th, price target, valid still because the price action is still above the upper trend line of this pattern here, of the breakout, right? And the price target would be about $1.90 for Avantis. Is it going to get there? A lot of which depends on Bitcoin. Very important to be paying attention to Bitcoin still, because that is the driver of this market. I cannot emphasize that enough. Let's go ahead and go to a smaller time frame and see what Avantis could be doing. I also want to point out that there is bullish divergence on the daily time frame, and that could be playing. Wait, hang on. No, there's not bullish divergence on the daily time frame. Excuse me. 4-hour time frame. There is bullish divergence, and that could be playing out right now. Bullish divergence, definitely know your divergences because they indicate a higher likelihood of a reversal. Bullish divergence usually indicate a reversal on a bounce, right? Because that tells you that the bears are losing strength. That basically is when you get equal or lower lows on the price action chart, but you get equal or higher lows on the RSI. Math doesn't lie, okay? Let's go ahead and take a look into here, 4-hour time frame. Falling wedge pattern, okay? Price target. It looks like it's trying to break out right now. Price target is going to be about above 60 cents price target. Let's see if it gets there on this shorter time frame. So this basically wraps it up for Avantis, Sushi, ANKR, Bitcoin, crypto. Let me know if you guys want to continue seeing any more of these coins or any other coins in this market by dropping a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll pick a request to you for you guys on a daily basis, and I'll see you on the next one.